I'm Liz Leach. I'm the School Nutrition Programs Manager here at OSSI, and I have been working in the DC school meal programs. This is my 11th year working on these programs, so I'm proud to say that. So we are going to start today. Let's dive right in, actually. I don't need to tell any of you this. You know that school meals are necessary for student success. You know, as you work in the school each day and you see our students, that they need the proper nutrition to be prepared to learn and succeed academically each day. So today's training that focuses on how to determine if a student is eligible for free meals speaks to this directly. When we know a student needs that free meal, we know that they need it even more so to make sure that they're ready and prepared for success. So most folks on our call today probably do not participate in these provisions, but I wanted to do a brief high-level introduction to them so that you're aware that they exist in case you ever want to participate them in the future. So the provisions that are available in the school meal programs, the one that's most popular that most people take part in is the Community Eligibility Provision, which we lovingly call CEP. So CEP allows SFAs and schools to serve breakfast and lunch at no cost to students, and they claim those meals based on a formula, a percentage of students that are directly certified for free meals. So if you are eligible to participate in the Community Eligibility Provision, you will receive a notification from our team by April 15th each year, and you'll have the opportunity to elect by June for the following year. Today happens to be the election deadline, so I know some of you were getting those elections in earlier today. Thank you so much. And if you have any more questions about CEP, feel free to put them in the chat. We can discuss more during our Q&A, or we can follow up offline if that's something you want to potentially look for participating in the future. There are other provisions that allow schools to process free and reduced meal applications or farm applications on a less than annual frequency. Those provisions are not quite as common anymore now that the Community Eligibility Provision is available nationwide, but they are still out there. So if anyone, again, ever wants to engage in further research in them or discuss them further, reach out to our team. We're happy to do so. Okay, and with that, we will jump into direct certification. So direct certification is one of the primary ways that we deem students eligible for free meals. Is an easy way to do so because we deem them eligible based on their participation in other programs. So if and when a student or their family participates in TANF or SNAP, or if they are identified as homeless or in foster care, they are automatically qualified for free meals, and we can use that one data piece to qualify them for free meals. We don't need any sort of farm application from them. Yep, I think that's the high level overview of direct certification, and what we'll do is dig into the process a little deeper now. So how does direct certification work? What happens is that from your school food authority, you send OSSI rosters. You send us a data feed through your student information system, your SAS. So we get that from DCPS through Aspen. We get it from public charter schools through whatever student information system you use. We also get it from private schools through a QuickBase application. We also then get all the other data needed. So we get SNAP and TANF data from our Department of Human Services. We get homeless and foster data from other organizations as well. We consolidate all that data, and then we feed back to you a direct certification list that shows you any of the students who are directly certified, which make them eligible for free meals. Previously, this process was done in SLED, and we are actually transitioning the process so you'll have even better access to this data. And so starting next month, it will be available in a CLICK application. When the CLICK application goes live, we will provide instructions on exactly how to pull your direct certification list, hopefully including screenshots and numbered instructions on how to do so. So you can keep an eye out for that coming, and it'll be released as soon as that application is available. So what are the benefits of using direct certification? One, it ensures that all students that are eligible, or the students that are eligible through these means for free meals, get those meals. And we know that's really important, particularly this year, coming off of a little over 2 years where free meals were provided to all. We want to, and we're transitioning into a school year where students have to be determined eligible to receive free meals. We want to capture everyone that might be eligible to do so. So direct certification is one of our best tools and methods to do that. When a student is on the direct certification list, it means that they are eligible for free meals for the entirety of the school year, including 30 carryover days into the next school year as well. Direct certification also extends to other members in the household if the student was directly certified via SNAP or TANF. So for example, if there's a student on your direct certification list in kindergarten who is directly certified via SNAP, and you happen to know that their sibling who lives in the same household is in 3rd grade, but you don't see on that list, you are able to extend that benefit to that 3rd grade sibling who lives in the same household. And that 3rd grade student will also be eligible to receive free meals for that school year and 30 days into the following school year. So that is another benefit of using the direct certification list. And then lastly, what we love is that it reduces the need for households to complete farm applications, for you to process those farm applications, and to go through the farm application and verification process. So less administrative work on the end of the household and for you as well. Okay, so now we're going to go through a couple steps of exactly how to conduct the direct certification process. The first thing is to make sure that you have accurate rosters feeding to OSSI through your student information system. We know this process starts or restarts in July annually, and the exact date for when the new school year's rosters changes a little bit each year. But again, you want to make sure from your school food authority, we recommend connecting with your data manager to make sure that the new school year's rosters are feeding accurately to OSSI, so we have the right data to use so we can feed that data back to you. The second step is, once you know your new school year rosters are feeding into OSSI systems, is that you're going to go into the Click application and download the direct certification list. Once you have that list of students that are directly certified, you will deem the students that are directly certified eligible for free meals on your benefit issuance list. So we restart this process in July every year. And what's new in the Click application that you'll be seeing this year is that a student will be designated as directly certified from the prior school year or the current school year. And the reason we're giving you that data point is so that you're able to identify the students that were eligible based on prior year data are eligible for 30 days into the new school year or until a new determination is made, whichever comes first. But the students that are eligible based on data are eligible for the whole school year and 30 days into next school year. So you'll be able to have that in-depth information that maybe wasn't very clear on our prior reports to help you deem students eligible. The minimum requirement is that you conduct, sorry, can we go back a slide? The minimum requirement is that you conduct this direct certification process 3 times a year annually, including one of those being around the start of school. But our best practice recommendation is that you actually do this process as frequently as possible to ensure that any student who may be newly directly certified is put on your benefit issuance list as eligible for free meals. At OSSI, we conduct this process weekly, so know that every single week we're getting a new feed from DHS. So anyone that would be added, we want to get added onto your benefit issuance list as soon as possible. I know there are some LEAs out there who conduct this in a nightly feed, which is great, and we again recommend doing it as frequently as possible. Okay, now I'm ready to go. So another part of step 2 is what I talked about before, making sure that if there are students on your certification list and they're directly certified based on SNAP or TANF, that you can extend meal benefits to other children who are a part of that household. So if there's a sibling that lives in the same household, but you don't see on the direct certification list, you can deem them eligible for free meals, and make sure to document that on your benefit issuance list on how they were determined eligible and the date, so you have that documentation. Okay, so now you've deemed your student eligible for free meals. They're going to start going through the line and know that they receive free meals. I just wanted to refer back to a tool that we have. Our team makes this master responsibility spreadsheet available to everyone, and it shows you on an annual, on a quarterly, on a monthly, and on a weekly basis what the responsibilities are to administer our school meal programs. And so if you're ever questioning, oh, how often do I have to run that direct certification report? What are the requirements again? This is the tool to reference back to show you that direct certification should be run at a minimum 3 times a year, and one of those being around the start of the school year, but really a best practice is to do it as often as possible. And then we will have this slide deck and presentation linked there as a reference, so if you ever want to go back to this for reference, you're able to. Okay, so now the student has been determined as eligible. They've been transitioned onto the benefit issuance list. They are receiving free meals. Please make sure that you notify students who are directly certified of their eligibility. We have a template household letter that you can send out if you choose to use our template, and maintain all documentation. So for folks that have been through administrative reviews before, you know this documentation is something that we are required to look at in the administrative review. So please make sure to maintain it, so it's there for reference when needed. Okay, that sums up the direct certification process. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will circle back to direct certification when we get to Q&A. And now Alex is going to chat about farm applications.
Thanks, Liz. And I think the new direct certification process is super exciting, the new report. So hopefully that makes it clearer and easier for everybody. All right. So if a student is not directly certified, what do we do? And we can determine eligibility by processing a farm application. So the farm application, we call them farm applications, but it's the free and reduced price meals application. And they're used by FFAs to certify children as eligible for free or reduced price school meals based on income. And then students on the direct cert list don't need to submit farm applications. Applications reflect income from July 1st to June 30th annually, and then you must process the farm application within 10 days of receipt. So this slide just shows what a farm application looks like. It's obviously really small. It's just like a snapshot of it. This is the 22-23 farm app. We did update it. It's in the NSLP resource folder. And it's the same as previous years with the exception that it has the new non-discrimination statement on it. So if you guys read Beyond the Tray, which everybody hopefully did, there's a new non-discrimination statement for this year. So this farm app has been updated with it. We don't have the Spanish version of the non-discrimination statement yet, so we just have the English version available. Once we have the Spanish version from USDA, we'll update the farm application and add it to the resource folder. And then in order to process farm applications, you're going to use the income eligibility guidelines. So here's a snapshot of the eligibility guidelines starting July 1st to next June 30th, 2023. This is also in the NSLP resource folder. So if you guys are going to the 22-23 school year, you'll be pulling the correct income eligibility guidelines. But I did want to flag, we've seen it done before where someone's using the wrong guidelines. So if you're processing applications that are like right on the cusp, you're going to have the wrong determination. So just make sure you double check and that you're using the right ones when you're processing your apps. So to determine eligibility, you'll want to ensure that the application is filled out completely and signed by the adult household member. If there's a case number in step 2, then the students are eligible for free meals, and then you can skip step 3 altogether. And then step 3 is income reporting, where household adults will report their income. If a household reports income sources at more than one frequency, then you have to convert all of the income to annual. So let's say someone does income at weekly and someone does it at bi-weekly. You can't just double the weekly amount. You have to convert both to annual, and then you're going to process that application as an annual amount. Let's say you have two people and they both submit it as weekly. You don't have to convert it in that case. You can add those two together and convert it as weekly. But if it's two different frequencies, it gets converted to annual. And I'm really emphasizing this because we see this all the time in ARs where it's not converted to annual or it's converted incorrectly. So anytime there's a difference in frequencies, convert it to annual, and then that's the amount you're going to use to process the application. So then the determining official will then report the income findings on the bottom of page 2 as well as the household size. The determining official will then compare the income and household size to the income eligibility guidelines, that little spreadsheet we just showed, and you're going to make the eligibility determination a free, reduced, or paid. And then once that determination is made, you're going to fill in the proper circle. So there's a little circle on if it's free, reduced, or paid, and then you're going to sign and date it. There's a spot for a confirming official. It's not required to have a confirming official review every application. It is required if the application is selected for verification. However, we do see it as a best practice that SFAs have a determining official and then they have a confirming official actually review all of the applications. So if you choose to go this route, then if you pull an application for verification, you wouldn't have to do the confirmation review. Slightly more work, but whenever we do see a confirming official review every application, there's far less errors when we do an AR. And then, of course, these errors affect student eligibility. So you really want to make sure that we're minimizing as many errors as possible. And then once eligibility is determined, this determination is valid for the entire school year. And SFAs must carry over the eligibility status from the previous school year up to 30 operating days into the new school year. A farm application must reflect income as of July 1st of the effective school year. So if you got a farm application now for next school year, you can't process it. It's supposed to be income as of July 1st. And then that's when the income eligibility guidelines are effective. So if you were to receive an income application now, you could process it, and that would just go for the next 15 days, and then you would need a new farm application for July 1st, and then that will carry over for the school year. And then any sponsors that make changes to a farm application or frequently asked question document, or if you use a different application altogether, you can submit any application or document to OSSI and we can review it and just make sure it has everything that's needed on it. All right, so let's talk about carryover. Liz mentioned carryover a little bit when she was talking about direct certification, but this chart shows examples of carryover. So if the student's going from accounting and claiming school to another accounting and claiming school within the LEA, then the carryover is mandatory, and the LEA must carry over the child's eligibility status for up to 30 operating days or until a new determination is made, whichever one comes first. If you're transferring between LEAs, then carryover is encouraged. Not mandatory, but highly encouraged. If the student's going from a provision school, so if they're going from a CEP school to accounting and claiming school within the LEA or to new LEA, then the child can receive free meals for up to 30 days or until a new eligibility determination is made. And then for transfers, once a child is determined eligible for free and reduced price meals, eligibility remains in effect for the remainder of the school year and up to 30 operating days into the next school year. So when a child transfers to a new school within the same LEA, the new school must accept the eligibility determination from a child's former school if the child has an eligibility determination. When a student transfers to new LEA, the new LEA is permitted to accept the eligibility determination from a student's former LEA, LEAs are strongly encouraged to accept the former LEA's eligibility determination to ease the new student's transition and ensure there's no break in the student's meal access. The new LEA should retain written documentation of the eligibility determination made by the former LEA, but an email from the former LEA just stating the eligibility status is sufficient. And then a child transferring within the same LEA or between LEAs from a CEP school to a non-provision school must be given free reimbursable meals for up to 30 operating days if it's the same LEA, or 10 operating days if it's a new LEA, or until a new eligibility determination is made, whichever comes first. And then on carryover, Liz is going to talk about carryover eligibility for this upcoming school year.
Thanks, Alex. And thanks for kind of reviewing carryover and setting us up for this. So I know folks might be thinking, well, we didn't have eligibilities for students in the past school year because we operated the seamless summer option, and even in the prior year, we operated the summer food service program, and therefore a student may not have been incentivized to complete a farm application, and we didn't have those eligibilities. So what do we do? So USDA has put forth a waiver that allows schools that operated the seamless summer option in this school year, the 21-22 school year, to use the most recent eligibility you have for a student for the first 30 days, for the first 30 operating days of school as their eligibility until a new eligibility determination is made. This waiver is not required, but it is encouraged. So if you have data available to use, you may use that. And if you wanted to choose to do so, you would have to elect to use this waiver within your school meal programs application, which you're going to be submitting in Orchard by July 30th. So I'll give an example of how this would work. If you are an SFA who operated the seamless summer option or is currently operating the seamless summer option in school year 21-22, therefore you don't have student eligibility, students did not submit farm applications. Let's say you have a student who you have deemed as eligible for free meals based on a farm application from the 2019-20 school year. You may use that eligibility determination for the start of school and up to 30 days while you encourage them to fill out a new farm application to make a new determination for their eligibility for this year. Again, I'm happy to answer questions as if you have any on that particular carryover waiver, please put them in the chat and we can dig into that further if folks would like.
Awesome. And then I'm just seeing a question, just a clarification on farm applications. So Liz dropped in the 22-23 folder, and then it's the 2017-18 eligibility manual for school meals. We're using the same one, so that is why that one's been carried over every year, because that's the USDA one. We do have an updated farm application, so I think that the link I'm dropping in links directly to the farm app for 22-23, but just right above it will be a link to the whole folder. Okay, so now let's talk about the benefit issuance list. So here written down are the requirements of the benefit issuance list. We see finding on this all the time during ARs. There's always like one little thing missing. So if you have an existing benefit issuance list, take this list, go check it, just make sure you have a column for all of these things. And if you don't, add one and you can start fresh this year and you'll make sure your BI list has everything that you need. So what you need on it is the student's first and last name. You need the benefit status, so free, reduced, and paid. So whatever you determine on the farm application, you would transfer over to the benefit issuance list. The method of determination, so were they directly certified? Was it a household extension of someone on the direct certification list? Was it via a farm application? So however they were directly certified, you're going to want to notate that on there. And you're also going to want to put the date of determination. So that way you know the date that it was certified, you have it on there as well. And then if there's a change in benefit status, you're going to want to list this as well. So oftentimes people will come onto the direct certification list, or maybe they submit a new farm application because there's been a change in household income. And if that changes the benefit of the student, you're going to want to make sure that that benefit change date is listed. And that really helps when we're coming to do an AR. We can look and see, okay, well, if we're looking at September, this person they were paying for meals, but now they're getting free meals. Well, why did that happen? Oh, okay, because in November, they submitted a farm application and now they're eligible for free meals. And then you're going to want to make sure the school name's on there and the total number of eligible students enrolled in an SFA. So this is what's required on the benefit issuance list, but since we're talking about findings we see in ARs, we do see issues in transferring a determination to the benefit issuance list. So that's something you also really want to look out for. So whatever the determination is on that farm application, or if they're in the direct cert list, if you don't have an electronic way, if it's not like electronic and connected, which most schools in DC don't have an electronic, it's majority manual, just make sure whatever that determination is, it's going correctly onto the benefit issuance list. Because if it's incorrect, then there's a potential the students will have an incorrect eligibility and could potentially be paying for meals if they were qualified as free, or vice versa. Okay, so now we have some time for questions. So I answered the one from Fresia in the chat, but yes, this is a link to the 22-23 folder. 17-18 eligibility is still there, the manual that we're still using. Let's see what else we have. All right, I don't see any other questions now, but we'll give you guys a couple minutes. I see Trina put that she's been working in school food for 1 year. I know that's not true. Trina, I've been working with you a lot longer than that.
And while folks are thinking if they have any questions, I'll also offer up some time, since we have gone through this presentation rather swiftly. If anyone has any ideas on how they are going to encourage families to fill out farm applications this year, I would love to hear them and share them with others in this call, as we know that this year is different than any other year in that folks haven't been completing these applications in a number of school years. And so it may be more challenging than ever to kind of reiterate to folks the importance of filling out these applications, get them to fill them out and do so. So would just love to hear from folks. How are you planning to get those applications out to households, encourage them to be submitted, and particularly make sure they are submitted and processed before the 30-day carryover ends?
Hi there, this is Fresia from Stokes. Can I just come off mute?
Yeah, thanks, Fresia.
I already did, sorry. This is a question that has come out year after year after year after year, and I'll probably hear the same answer. It is challenging for us to get applications to families, particularly because our enrollment period has already ended, right? And so families, we struggle getting them. We have to walk parents, we have to hold hands, we have to do a whole bunch of outreach to do enrollment. And then this comes out, we can't do anything with it until July 1st. Families are not in a school. And then we have to start the process again at the beginning when families are just coming in at the end of August. So it's very challenging. And I really, really wish, again, I've been saying this for 2 decades, right? And I don't know what the solution is. I just, there has to be a better way if we want families to actually submit stuff, because otherwise it's just us putting families in a category that they may not even fit, right? So anyways.
Thanks for raising that concern. I think we're nodding and sharing in understanding that this timeline is very challenging. And so I'd love to offer the floor to any other school who has maybe found any success with how to address that challenging timeline.
I can maybe step in. I'll go on camera. Let's see if I can access my camera. So my name is Jack Lang. I am currently the cooking and gardening teacher at Mundo Verde. I am becoming the food program manager in July. So I've been being trained and being onboarded slowly just trying to finish out this school year as a teacher. Through training, I know I've been informed that we put a limit on t-shirts. So if parents have not, I don't know if we did it last year or the year before, if you have not filled out a farm application, you cannot buy a t-shirt. You can't buy more than one t-shirt. So there's limitations with that. That has seemed to help for what I've been told. And I was going to say something else as well, but that has been really great just because, we also create a Google opt-out sheet or application where parents, if you make too much money, so you can fill out the Google form and you opt out, and then that's put onto eligibility as far as they know they make too much money, so it's just kind of canceled in general. I'm still learning protocols and everything, so I apologize for not having correct terminology. But I've been informed that those two strategies have helped get more applications in. So we're seeing better turnout with that. And can I just say one more thing? I appreciate this platform. I am, like I said, brand new to this role. And it would be great if I don't know if there's a network of food program managers out there that we can be connected to and like ask questions to outside of these webinars and have a kind of a community of these people to kind of connect with outside.
Well, Jack, thank you. Welcome to School Nutrition Programs. We're glad to have you for your suggestions and sharing with others. And there is indeed a network, particularly for schools that are self-operating, such as Mundo Verde. So we will make sure to connect you with that community practice after this call.
Great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Jack, for your suggestions. Does anyone else have any other suggestions on how to encourage households to complete farm applications, particularly knowing that the time frame is challenging? All right, well, I'm going to share a couple from my experience. I'm going to shout out Nadine over at DC Public Schools. I know in the past, Nadine has gone to parent-teacher nights or whatever nights that are at the beginning of the school year to kind of introduce families to the school and sat with a computer. So where she could help a family fill out a farm application in person and took away that kind of need for a family to submit it, be processed, go back because maybe there was a field missing, whatever it may be. So that is really a practice that I know was extremely successful. I know it's very labor intensive, but it may be really helpful to do anything. Nadine will be doing that again this year. I'm so glad to hear that, Brittany. I know it's labor intensive and I know it's hard to plan logistically for it, but making those farm applications available in paper form or online if you have an online platform to do so, and helping families actually fill them out when they are there, maybe reducing that barrier between the family and the school. So that's a great best practice I've seen and just wanted to share that out as well. I don't think we had any other questions that we saw come through in the chat. Is that right, Alex?
Actually, we have one more, and I believe this was related to the carryover slide you talked about, specific to this school year. So since schools were free or students were free under SSO for most schools, will they all be free again for the first 30 days, or how does the carryover work if they've been serving SSO for the last 2 years?
Great question. So let me clarify. And Nigel, if I could just ask you to go back to a slide so we can view the carryover waiver. To go back 2 more, I believe. There we go. So the answer is no. All students are not free going into the start of this school year. The way we can deem their eligibility, because everyone was under SSO this past year, is by using the last eligibility that they had. So if a student had a farm application from the 1920 school year, for example, that deemed them eligible for free meals, that could be used for the first 30 days or up till a new eligibility was determined, whichever comes first. Alternatively, if there was a farm application that deemed a student not eligible for free meals, that status would have to be used until a new determination was made. So whatever the most recent eligibility you have for a student may be used, but all students are not automatically free going into the school year. They have to use the most recent determination. Great, glad that clarifies the question. And then I'll also just share out, Jack, thanks again for sharing related to our question earlier. Jack shares that they train their front desk colleagues who help parents with questions and assistance filling out the farm application. They provide an example of an application at the front desk for all parents to see as well. I think that's a great best practice to have, as that front desk person is the person who engages with a parent at the front of the school. So thanks for sharing that best practice as well. All right, well, let's roll into sharing some resources. So if you want to find out more, we have a couple linked for you here. The Eligibility Manual for School Meals, which was referenced in the chat earlier. It was developed in the 2017-18 school year, but is still applicable. This also links to the income eligibility guidelines that Alex showed us earlier. And if you haven't yet registered for our annual training, which is later this summer, please do so. Register and block time on your calendar. We also have links to our verification process. So later this fall, once farm applications are processed, you will then undergo like verifying some of those applications, and we have resources to help you do so. And we'll touch base as we get closer to that time in the year. And as always, we encourage you to sign up for our monthly office hours so we can dive deeper into anything you want to talk about with the team.